everybody. Welcome to the last fireside chat of the day. We've kept one of the best guests for the last. I have the pleasure of Dustin Blank from Creative Juice to talk about the trends in funding of creator economy, who's fueling this creator economy and how it is getting funded. I'm gonna let Dustin to say hi and introduce himself and tell about himself a little bit more, and then we're gonna dig deep into the questions. Dustin, thanks so much for doing this. Welcome to this fireside chat.
Thanks so much for having me. Very nice to be here. Just as a way of introduction, everyone, I'm Dustin Blank. I joined Creative Juice about 7 to 8 months ago. And if you aren't familiar, Creative Juice is a fintech company for creators. We provide growth tools and banking services to help creators grow and fuel their channels. So we have bank accounts, our Juice Money bank account. We have growth and rate cards, so creators know how much they're worth. We have boosts, which are basically short-term advances against their future YouTube payouts. And of course, we have Juice Funds, where we fund creators and give them the necessary capital to help grow their businesses.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dustin. Yeah, I think we're just going to jump right in, because one of the exciting things that exciting reasons that I wanted to have you being part of this fireside chat is just this very unique model with regards to Creative Juice. We've seen a lot of unique funding models in the creative economy, but one of the ones that I'm very excited is sort of like creators funding creators, the creators making a transition to become investors themselves. And then we've seen, like you, creator-focused banks and cash management tools. We've seen NFT models that we can jump into and talk about. We've seen platform-specific funds, so creator funds on big technology platforms like Facebook and TikTok and Patreon and those kind of stuff. So maybe the very first question I have for you is that what do you make it like of all of this? Do you think funding in creator economy is a little bit different from all other startups? And how do you see this landscape of funding in the creator economy evolve?
Yeah. So I think it first starts off with why are we doing this, and what do we see as the opportunity? I think what we've seen is a couple of trends. So one, platforms like YouTube, Facebook, etc., are making it easier for creators to monetize in general. So basically, there are tools now on those platforms that make it really easy for creators to earn a living. Another trend we see is just a macro trend, which is just the global workforce has changed, right? Traditional jobs and the expectation in terms of salary and revenue have really pushed folks to explore other more alternative paths, which makes these platforms more attractive to earn a living. And then what we're also seeing is that creators often need funding to help jumpstart their businesses, right? So they need that initial capital to hire a video editor, hire a team, get the right tools in place so that they can actually start creating. So that's why you're seeing companies like ourselves jump in here and say, hey, we can provide access to that capital. And also we can provide other more qualitative services that can help your channel grow.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's almost like the funding in the creator economy, if you were a startup, you could kind of have to come up with your own team, right? You could have to, you need to be able to code or find a low cost or someone who believes in your vision to be able to come code with you if that's the technology. And then you need some basic, you are responsible to coming up with those basic initial skills and resources required to get your company grant. What I found very exciting about the creator economy is that this space understands that if you don't have to have all those things or being able to bring all that resources day one, and there's ways to fund that and find, as you said, video editor or someone who can help you with marketing, and you're still going to go and become a very big creator, because your skill set is not about building let's say the company or startup, it's about creating content and managing your community. So to me, it's like a totally different mindset when it comes to creator entrepreneurship versus traditional sort of startup entrepreneurship. Do you agree, disagree, anything to add on top of it?
I mean, I would just kind of follow that up with, I think what you're seeing is that creators are now businesses. And so you have to have that business mindset. There, you know, when we talk about platform tools, creating new resources for creators to make money, I think that opens up the opportunity for creators also to think of themselves as businesses in general and to have that mindset of, okay, I am a creator, but I also am a business owner at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, let's build on top of that. This whole rise of banks for creators.
Sure.
Why is this happening? Maybe I guess the other question is like, why do the old banks don't understand the potential of the creator economy? Or is it the potential? Is it lack of understanding? What is it that creators need this whole new banks and banking infrastructure and funding infrastructure compared to any other businesses?
I think one of the things that you're seeing is that traditional banks just don't have the same understanding of the value that creators are bringing to the table. But at the end of the day, creators have recurring revenue streams. They are hiring teams. They have created LLCs. They are just like the traditional businesses that would go to traditional banks. And so when you have a company like Creative Juice that can come in and say, hey, I understand you, I value you. And also, in addition to these banking tools, we're offering metrics and dashboards and other growth tools that really give you a hub to look at your finances, but also look at your analytics in the same place. I think it's a powerful proposition.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That makes a lot of sense. Sort of like, it's not only just like, here's the capital that you need and this is the interest rate. Here's everything related to managing your cash and finances to be able to run your business successfully.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk about creators funding creators. And the first time I've heard about this was when I saw Mr. Beast sort of coming together with a bunch of other creators and investing, creating a VC. Then I saw the Night Ventures, which was used to be a traditional media company, helping big creators managing their businesses from a marketing point of view. Now they have Night Ventures who would help basically creator economy startups. Why do you think there's this? Like, we haven't seen a lot of this happening in other spaces, right? Like, we haven't seen, for example, obviously a lot of founders, when they succeed, then they become VCs. But we see now much more sooner happening on the creator sides. Creators are getting excited and becoming the VCs that funding the industry. Yes. Why do you think that is?
I think what you're seeing is just new technologies and new tools which allow that. So on a macro level, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you thought of an investor as this, you know, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs person, female or male, who would, fund in that kind of traditional way. But with the advent of technology, there's now all of these tools which allow everyone to be an investor and everyone to help participate in the growth of creators or, other investable assets. So that's, I think, what you're seeing. And, to kind of tease out what you're saying a little bit more, the great thing about the creator economy is, yes, there's this idea that, make a buck, get a return on investment, but there's something more in what we do at Creative Juice and what, is going on with this investing in creators. And that comes from the heart, that comes from appreciating creators, seeing them as not just a way to make, again, a return on investment, but also to actually help someone fulfill their dreams as a creator in general. Yeah. And I say creator, and we didn't really touch on this, but a creator can be so many different things. They can be someone who creates audiovisual content, or they could be someone on Etsy who's creating crafts. So that's the beauty of this whole space.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, I almost come to this conclusion that, like, creators, just the same as when let's say you guys understand what are the challenges when it comes to financing of a business, creator business, creators also have that inside out lens, right? They know what are the challenges, they know what is the potential of other creators in terms of growth, and then they also see the challenges, and then they step up. Some of the more successful ones step up, and then they say, oh, we can actually create these funding opportunities for other creators who are just starting. So some part of it is like understanding who understands the opportunity better than a creator who has already been able to scale their business. I guess Alex has a question. I'll take his question because it's related to Creative Juice. I believe he's asking, and then we'll get to the rest of the questions. Alex, is your questions about Creative Juice being available in the UK too, or am I right? I guess I'll ask that to Dustin. Is the Creative Juice already available outside the US, or do you guys have time?
So, Alex, you can log on and get access to our dashboards, to our rate cards, to our other services. But at this time, you can't set up a bank account outside the US. But if you have a US-based LLC, you definitely can do that. In terms of funding, at the moment, we're US only. But if it's a really special case, we're happy to look at your channel and see if you could get funding.
Awesome. Great. And Alex, we can connect you later on. Alex Co, he has a family investment channel, and then we can connect you guys.
Oh, great. I'd love to check it out, Alex.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll connect you guys. One of the reasons we have this summit is actually to bring these two sides together, right? So definitely on point, and we'll make sure you guys are connected. So back to the conversation of like funding. Do you think there is differences in different subsegments of the creator economy when it comes to funding? Do you think there's parts of it that are more successful, in other parts of it that are more sort of like get a bigger share of the pie, the funding pie? If so, why?
Yeah, I think you have to follow like who's monetizing the most into what platforms are and what platforms are giving better tools for creators to monetize. So I think what you're seeing is like YouTube has been doing it a while with AdSense, and they're very successful. So YouTube definitely is a company that is going to get a lot of attention in terms of investment and funding. Take, for example, even Kevin Maher's company investing in Moonbug, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So you'll see a lot more of that. I think with these creator funds on TikTok, et cetera, you hear a lot of creators talk about how, well, they've gotten payouts, but it's not that much. But that being said, as we know, these companies are going to lean in hard, creating monetization tools that are beneficial for creators. And when that happens, more funding will go to them.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot more like even like I was looking at Patreon's sort of like grants. It's like every year they give $50,000 to some creator. A lot of those kind of people who qualify for a grant are more like artists, people who are like creative creators, if you wish, that they've to me, a lot of them are like lifestyle creators on YouTube. They've started, maybe they had to your point, they monetized earlier and they monetized better, and maybe it was even not easier, but it was more, they already built a large followership, so they were able to monetize better. And then now you see financial content creators or other kind of like science knowledge creators that are sort of emerging. And then these guys are just at the early on, like they're just trying to monetize, they're just trying to grow their community. And then we're going to see some of them start generating money and monetize, and then funding, to your point, is going to follow right after that. So let's talk about a little bit of, I know it's not mostly creative juice, maybe you guys already have plans for it, but this whole notion of people IPOing themselves or creators selling tokens, or token for communities, at the NFT space. What do you think of that? Is that
good question.
Is that a reliable and sustainable way of monetizing or of funding a creator business as it stands today?
I don't know if it's reliable because it's just so new, but I definitely think it's interesting. And I think like there will be more innovations in that space. This idea of DAOs, fractionalizing NFTs, fractionalizing tokens. I think it's great because it allows many people to participate, and it combines this idea of finance plus community. However, I think when it comes down to it, there's going to be, a lot of very public success stories, right? But again, you're going to miss out potentially on a middle to small business class of creators. I think when you get into this idea of tokens, so you may end up seeing a lot more people look to resources like Creative Juice, who are super focused on that small to medium business, opposed to, Elon Musk or, some major YouTube star putting himself on a coin and having people buy.
Yeah. So if I understand, which I totally agree with you, is that for a social token to succeed in a meaningful way to fund the business, you first need to have the clout. You need to already have a large community to be able to, you already need to build the community, and then you would maybe be able to create a social.
Yeah, and maybe it's a medium to small business who has enough clout to create a token. But I get the sense that the platforms that enable someone to have clout, they're going to want to focus their energy on that, opposed to you being a token and doing it that way. So I think there needs to be a little more innovation around once you are a token, what that means. Once you do fractionalize, a piece of yourself, or however you want to say it, what that actually means and how you keep your community engaged. There needs to be a little more work, but I see lots of promise.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of promise. Yeah. The other thing I see as a barrier yet for now is that certain creators in certain segment might be able to do this because they talk about technology, or maybe maybe some of the financial creators actually are a good fit because they've been talking about the stocks and maybe NFTs and maybe crypto.
Yep.
Their audience is sort of familiar with what is going on, versus if you're a lifestyle creator or like a beauty or any other sort of other categories, might be a lot more difficult because we still don't have like mass adoptions on these topics or these concepts or features, I guess, outside some certain communities. So perhaps for our audience, who are financial creators, might be even closer because their audience is more familiar with these concepts. But generally, social tokens and NFTs as a source of funding for a creator economy, to me, still, there's like way left. There's still more innovation, to your points, need to happen before we can get there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, awesome. So I think I wanted to talk about this whole notion of VCs. VCs are opening up to the idea of funding creators. So I've seen some VCs talking about we're funding. I mean, VCs have always been talking about we fund the team behind the companies. But when it comes to seeing a creator business as a startup, in a way, you're almost investing in that person, that one person that is so, that's the whole soul of the community, and everything's reliant. Obviously, there's tons of things that are happening around that business. But do you see what kind of trends have you seen from VCs opening up to the idea of we're funding a creator business as opposed to traditional startups? And do you think there are evidences of that to be VCs funding creators as a growing trend in the funding of creator economy?
I do. I'm not sure the exact form it will take. I think that what you've seen some, 30-year timelines for some of these VCs investing in creators. And, on first blush, people criticize that on some level because they use the word, servitude or something of that nature. I don't think it is that, I don't think it's that fair to say it that way. Obviously, the person who would enter that agreement would be very, very aware of what that means and what that means for them. And clearly, if they're signing that deal, they would understand what it means. I do think that something that I think a lot about when I fund creators, which is usually over the timeline of 1 to 2 or 3 years, and we don't take equity, it's more revenue share, and we do that because I realize that creators evolve and change over time, and their focuses may change, their dreams may change, what they want to do will change. And so I think that for me, when you look at a timeline of 30 years, it feels a little locked in, not in terms of servitude, but locked in terms of personal growth. And so that's one thing that timeline of 30 years kind of makes me a little nervous. Yeah.
Right. That's a really good point. Unless the creator is already evolved enough to have created a company and have like a product that they're productizing and selling products.
That's right.
To your point.
In which case, why would they take the money though?
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends. Yeah, your point. Yeah, if it's about building the creator business, probably they don't need a significant amount funding. But if it's about now expanding into like having their own platform, having their own apps. I've seen creators, especially in the financial services industry or financial creators, a lot of them go and maybe create an app for their followers, and then from that app they want to expand into different businesses. We've seen a lot of like almost like franchise model, right? So I create a system for people to save and budget better, and then I will teach the next person to also do the same thing, and then that person, that's almost like a franchise model. Then these become,
that's a very good point,
much bigger, right? And then in that case, you probably need funding, and then maybe a VC would be interested and say, okay, I can see there's a potential here.
But what I've seen with VCs, and tell me if I'm misunderstanding, is that when they're doing this, they're taking a share of revenue from like their entire work stream, not just like their business, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, equity, right? Exactly. In that model, the founder, the original creator, needs to create a sort of like a C corp, and then every other sort of franchise needs to be part of that C corp or somehow contribute to the revenue, not be part of it, but contribute, almost like a franchise model, to be able to contribute back to that original creator business, and the VCs would have an equity in that original creator. So that could be some of the possible models that work in VCs. But I really love your point of view of like timeline. It's different because someone like you at Creator Juice, you look at it, the revenue share in the next couple of years, versus the VC comes at it from a decade point of view, and they want to be able to get a business, creator business to $1 billion business. So that creator needs to be able to have a plan for become $1 billion company or $1 billion creator. Maybe it's the beauty, maybe they want to launch a business like a cosmetic line. If there's any, depending on what they're doing, there needs to be more plans around monetizing that community in order to be able to become a VC sort of backable company or startup. Very cool. So I guess sort of we're getting towards the end of the conversation. I want to talk about, maybe I ask you from a message for traditional banking system financing of the small businesses. If you were going to send them a message from what you understand from the creator economy, what would you want them to do, and how do you want them to change their business, the way they run and fund businesses, so that it helps and enables the creator economy to flourish?
I want first and foremost creators to take their business seriously. I want them to know their worth, and I want them to continue to create and know that there are resources out there to help them. I think if they can do all those three things, the entire creator economy is going to grow. That's what I would tell them.
That's awesome. And what would you say to the banks? So this is for the creators. What would you say to the banks, I guess, who may a creator go to them and say, hey, this is my business, this is my plan, this is how much I make money. What do they need to know about the creator economy to be able to kind of like pass that barrier of like, what are you even talking about? How would I find you if you were a YouTuber?
Yeah. I mean, I think they need to dig into the details of how creators are getting monetized and truly understand ad tech, the ad industry, how that works, how advertisers pay, Google and Facebook, et cetera. I think that's one thing in terms of a landscape that you really need to understand. Like, I know my experience working in advanced ad products really helps me get an understanding of, forecasting and how these things work. I would also say to banks, just because someone dresses and looks a certain way, it does not mean, as we know from crypto, it does not mean that they're not valuable customers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like a change. There needs to be a change of mindset. What do they define as a successful business needs to be changed in order for them to be able to understand even these as a business?
100%.
All right, I love it. So that's pretty much all we have on funding on the creator economy. Is there anything you want to add, Dustin, about Creative Juice, about a topic a question I didn't ask that you did want to share with the audience?
Yeah, everyone who's watching or listening, check out Creative Juice. It's getjuice.com. This month and December, where anyone who opens up a bank account, you'll get $10 in that bank account. If you don't decide to do that, you still get access to our great rate cards and dashboards. And also you'll be able to apply to Juice funds on our website. So check it out.
Check it out, definitely. And we'll make sure when we send this out on social media, I'll put a link to that. Thank you so much, Dustin, for doing this. It's great to have you on this fireside chat. And everybody else live on Twitter, live on LinkedIn, and on Zoom. This is the end of today's summit. We'll hope to do this a lot more frequent and hopefully much more bigger and have more audience on the creator side to join. And we have a 15-minute time slot right after this in case you have any questions or have something to talk about. So we're going to switch from this one to sort of what we call the 15 minutes after party in case you have any questions. Other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. And Dustin, thank you again for being part of this panel.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
If you are a financial creator, it's time to join us.